Stop blaming your age for how tired your hair makes you look. It's not the years, it's the haircut, still frozen in a decade that's long gone. Most women over 60 are wearing a style built for a face they used to have, and it's quietly adding 10 years nobody asked for. Here's what makes this dangerous. Hair changes as we age. It thins, it flattens, it goes quieter, and a cut that once framed your face perfectly can start working against you without you ever noticing the shift happening. This isn't your fault. Hair evolves the same way everything else does, and the style should evolve alongside it, not stay frozen at the age it was chosen. And there's a mistake almost every woman over 60 is still making without realizing it, the one that's been quietly aging her look for years. We'll get there, right after the 5 cuts that fix it. Welcome back to Timeless Tresses, where we help you look like the most confident version of yourself at every age, not a version chasing 30 again. You've earned every strand of wisdom in your hair, and your cut should do more than just function. It should inspire, it should uplift, it should speak for you before you even say a word. If a haircut that works with your face instead of against it sounds good to you, the subscribe button is right there. Let's get into it. This list pulls from what actually works for real women over 60. Not trendy styles built for someone 30 years younger, but timeless, elegant cuts designed specifically for the woman you are today. Whether you love a sleek bob, crave soft layers, or want something a little bolder, there's a cut here built for you. Cut 1. The soft layered bob. This isn't your grandmother's bob, and it isn't the severe, flat-to-the-head version either. I understand the hesitation. A lot of us picture one of those two extremes the moment bob comes up, and neither one sounds appealing. This is the reimagined version. An elegant bob softened with gentle layers that move and bounce rather than sit stiff. Here's the mechanism. Aging hair tends to lose natural volume, going limp or thin, especially around the crown and temples. Soft layers correct that directly. They create the illusion of fullness even in finer hair, add movement where hair used to fall flat, and lift the eye toward your cheeks and jawline instead of letting it settle on flatness. This cut also adapts to face shape. Go just past the chin to elongate the neck, or ask for face-framing layers starting at the cheek to accentuate cheekbones. It's less a haircut and more a sculpting tool. The same base shape, quietly customized for round, heart-shaped, oval, or square faces. The specificity spike, this bob embraces silver and gray beautifully, since the layers catch the light and bring out natural dimension in the color. And it works just as well over color, especially with soft lowlights woven through. Do it today. If you don't want to fuss with tools, let it air dry and let the layers fall naturally, then add a light mousse. This is one of the most forgiving cuts on the list, precisely because it doesn't demand daily styling to look intentional. Women who switch to this cut often say the same thing. People notice something's different, but can't quite name what. That's the whisper of elegance this cut is built for, not a shout. This cut also embraces gray and silver particularly well, since the layers catch the light and bring out natural dimension in the color, rather than letting it sit flat. If you still color your hair, it works just as well, especially paired with soft lowlights that add depth without demanding upkeep. But the next cut on this list asks for something a little braver. Cut 2. The textured pixie. I understand the instinct to say, I could never pull that off. Most of us spent decades believing longer hair was the safer, more feminine choice, so short can feel like a real leap. But this isn't about being daring for the sake of it. It's about shedding the weight, literally and emotionally, of a style that no longer reflects who you've become. I've heard the same line from more than one woman who finally cut it. I stopped hiding behind my hair. I look in the mirror and see someone who isn't afraid anymore. Here's the mechanism. This isn't the flat, boyish pixie from decades ago. It's layered and softly feathered, built to add volume exactly around the crown and top while keeping the sides tapered. Because it exposes your bone structure, which becomes more pronounced and striking with age, it lifts the eyes and elongates the neck rather than hiding either. If your hair has thinned, strategic layering and point cutting add body and movement to exactly the areas that have lost density, rather than exposing the loss. The specificity spike. This cut looks stunning in silver or salt and pepper tones specifically, since gray against short, textured layers reads like a deliberate style choice rather than an accident of age, closer to a piece of statement jewelry than a haircut. Do it today. Daily styling is a quick tousle with texturizing spray or a dab of pomade. Sleek and polished one day, slightly messy the next, entirely dependent on your mood rather than a strict routine. Expect to trim every 5 to 6 weeks and ask your stylist to shape it specifically to your face. This is not a cookie cutter cut, and the version that works for one woman's jawline won't automatically work for another's. There's an emotional layer to this one worth naming honestly. Cutting off length you've carried for decades can feel like shedding a version of yourself you were hiding behind. Most women describe the opposite of loss here. They describe finally feeling seen rather than covered up. Now, maybe you're not ready to go that short, and there's a cut for that too. Cut 3. Shoulder-length hair with face-framing layers. This one gets overlooked because it seems safe, almost too obvious to mention. But done well, it's anything but basic. It's soft, structured, and graceful, in a way that a lot of safe cuts aren't. Here's the mechanism. One-length hair drags your features downward, with no structure to counteract gravity. Face-framing layers draw the eye upward toward your cheekbones and jawline instead, removing bulk where it weighs the face down and adding movement exactly where you want lift. Think of it as gentle sculpting with scissors rather than a dramatic change in length. This is especially true if your hair is medium to thick or fine hair that tends to fall flat. The layering prevents the triangle shape, where hair poofs at the bottom and flattens at the top. And it works beautifully over natural silver, since the layers catch light and create depth in the color, rather than letting gray sit flat and dull. The specificity spike. Hair that hangs below the shoulder with no structure can genuinely pull the whole face down. Cutting it to shoulder length with the right face-framing layers does the opposite, lifting and energizing while still reading as long and feminine. This is the middle ground on this list, but not in the sense of compromise. It's balance. You're not chasing youth here. You're elevating your presence while keeping the length that still feels like part of your identity. Do it today. Add a deep side part for more polish, or curtain bangs blended into the layers for more softness. The same base cut, styled 2 different ways depending on the day. Blow it out with a round brush for bounce on days you want more polish, or let the layers air dry and do the work themselves when you don't. This cut sits deliberately in the middle of the list, but not as a compromise between short and long. It's the option for anyone who wants to keep the identity length has given them for years, while still correcting for exactly what gravity has started doing to that same length. We're halfway through this list, and it only gets more interesting from here. Now let's talk about a cut that works through structure instead of softness. Quick one, cut 4. The modern blunt bob. The old school version, cut sharply with no layers, could read harsh and rigid. The modern version, subtly undercut, curved slightly under, paired with a deep side part or asymmetrical edge, keeps the elegant structure while adding softness, dimension, and fluidity. This isn't a stiff geometric shape anymore. It's the same bold lines with movement and a little personality layered in. Here's why it works. As features soften with age, what stylists call visual collapse, structure brings definition back, framing the jawline and cheekbones the way a well-tailored blazer frames the body. It gives the whole silhouette a sense of intentionality, rather than letting the face read as undefined. It's low maintenance, too. It air dries well if cut properly, and a quick blow dry with a flat brush is often all it needs, especially if your hair is straight or slightly wavy. Do it today. Ask for feathered ends at the front if you want to soften the jawline further, or a bold blunt fringe if you want the eyes to be the first thing anyone notices. What makes this one distinct from the others on the list is what it communicates without a word. It doesn't try too hard, and it isn't chasing a trend. It simply says, I know exactly who I am, which is precisely why people tend to look twice. And the last cut on this list might surprise you the most. Cut 5. The soft shag with curtain bangs. This is not the rock star shag of the 1970s. The modern version is lighter, softer, and built specifically for where mature hair needs the most help. Many women worry that a layered cut with bangs will feel too youthful or too high maintenance for where they are now, but the opposite tends to be true here. Here's the mechanism. As hair thins at the roots, especially at the crown and temples, the soft shag boosts volume exactly there, while the back is feathered to prevent that same flat on top, bulky at bottom triangle shape other cuts on this list are also correcting for. The curtain bangs do their own separate job, parting gently in the middle and sweeping toward the cheekbones, framing the eyes, softening forehead lines, and lifting the face visually, all without adding heaviness. They work across most face shapes, round, oval, square, and blend seamlessly into the rest of the cut rather than looking like a separate styling decision. The specificity spike, this cut is far lower maintenance than it looks. The layers do most of the styling on their own, and curtain bangs grow out gracefully, meaning fewer trims than a blunt fringe would need. Do it today. Let it air dry with a bit of volumizing mousse for a relaxed day, or run a flat iron through it when you want something more polished. Same cut, 2 completely different moods. If you're someone who still loves to dance, laugh, and reinvent yourself now and then, this is the cut on the list that says so without you having to say a word. This isn't about rebellion for its own sake either. For a lot of mature women, there's real pressure to pick the safe haircut every time. Tidy, conservative, practical, and there's nothing wrong with wanting that. But if you still have some spirit left to express, This cut is built specifically to let it show. There's something almost quietly powerful about a woman who reinvents herself, and often that reinvention starts with something as simple as a haircut, not because hair is everything, but because of what it symbolizes. Sitting in that chair and saying, "I'm ready for something different," isn't about chasing your 30-year-old self. It's about choosing a style that honors where you've been while still reflecting where you're actually going. You don't have to settle for outdated, unflattering, or simply safe, not because age is a limitation, but because it's earned you the right to be exactly who you want to be, and to wear it without apology. Whether it's a soft bob, a textured pixie, or a graceful shoulder-length style, let the next haircut be more than a cosmetic change. Let it be a quiet reminder, every time you catch your reflection, that your best era isn't behind you. It's still unfolding. If this gave you a new way to think about your next appointment, tell me in the comments which cut you're most drawn to. I read every single one. And if you're not subscribed yet, hit that button so you don't miss what's coming next.